Hey, this is Sasha. Thanks for joining me in today's video. And what I want to share with you today is why most people are broke in America. Stay tuned. All right, so if you're one of the many millions of Americans who are broke, this is kind of a wake-up call for you. That things are probably not going to get better unless you do something about it. So you need to go ahead and take some form of action. And sometimes it's a tough action. Now, one of the main reasons that many people are broke in America is the spending. It's the consumerism. You might see somebody on social media wearing a certain type of clothing, sunglasses, and you want to go ahead and get those. And all of a sudden, hey, you look at these pair of sunglasses and you say, those things look pretty cool. Let me see how much they are. Oh, well, now they're $290. And if you've ever been around kids, and if you have kids and you want to get $290 sunglasses, that's fine and dandy. But I know that my kids have broken more than a handful of my sunglasses, and it's really just gets annoying. So from then on, you just kind of buy the cheap ones, couple time use, and by then they're usually broken until your kids grow up. So anyways, with that being said, if you're constantly buying very expensive things time and time again, eventually it leads to debt. Debt continues to snowball, and you continue to pay interest, creating the indentured servant effect, where you can just never get out of debt. You always have to pay. But there is one other thing that's really a problem in America, and many other countries as well, but in America more so, and that is really the inequality that goes with kind of the ramp up in investment income versus your wage income. And that is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to go ahead and take care of it and do what you need to do to get out of the situation. So here's what I mean. If we go ahead and kind of take a look at investment or income levels, let's just say you go out and you have a job. Now, typically when you go in, you make money, the income levels when it comes to regular people kind of grows at this steady pace, or maybe a salary, wage growth, that kind of stuff. So this is kind of our wage, or think of it like income growth. But the problem with other things is they have an exponential growth. Like think of the cost of housing. So as an example, you might have the cost of housing that doesn't grow kind of in a straight line. It might grow something a little bit more exponential and something a little bit more like this. Now, eventually these things pull back and then they continue to head higher. But what I'm saying is that the distance between your income and wage growth continues to spread exponentially. And this is a huge issue and problem. It's one of the main reasons why we have a lot of people who are homeless, is because they just can't afford the housing. The housing just becomes too expensive. The rent becomes too expensive because the rich keep getting richer. And this is really a form of making more money from your money. And this is your investment income. So if you are kind of in this wage or income growth where you're kind of a little more steady, or even a little bit more flatlined, let's say over time, because your wage or salary hasn't changed, it's time to look to other forms of income. Can you go ahead and make some passive income, whether that's, let's just say, writing an ebook and making money on the side, having something else that you're making some kind of passive income, or maybe go ahead and make some money from investment income. Sometimes you also have to do things that you don't want to do to bridge this gap, because as this gap continues to spread, it becomes tougher and tougher to grab a house. Or pick up a home to live in that's you're comfortable in. So sometimes you might say, hey, well, I'm making, let's say, $180,000 a year job, and this might be in New York, and that might not be sustainable, because if you say rent for a 1-bedroom apartment flat could be $4,000 a month, you're still looking at about $48,000 a year just in rent payments. So what could you do to bridge this gap if you got no savings? Maybe you have a lot of debt. Well, let's say in a weird way, even if you're making $180,000 a year, you lived in kind of your car, you got an RV of some sort, to where you've cut this expense down to maybe $1,000 a month. And now it makes it much more affordable and makes much more sense. And then you could save this up for maybe 3 to 5 years, pocketing a lot of money real fast to being able to catch up and bridge this gap and distance. So anyways, my point here is that, some people, they just can't catch up, and it makes it tough just because of the economy, the way the financial structure is set up. It's very difficult. So this is not your fault, but you still have to do something about it to get out of it. The other thing, though, is consumerism. Are you the type of person that you go ahead and you buy very fancy cars that maybe you can't afford, houses you can't afford, maybe jewelry, watches, sunglasses, cell phones, those kinds of things? Do you really need a $1,000 cell phone, a $600 cell phone? I'll tell you, nowadays, cell phones have become very capable, even ones that are cheaper for just $50 to $75, getting one used or 1 or 2 years old. You can really save a lot of money going that route, rather than getting the newest, brightest, shiniest, and fastest cell phone on the market today. Go with something a little older and you'll save a bit of money. So watch your spending. Watch if you're buying things on emotional purchases. Watch to see if you're trying to buy things to impress people. All these things start to add up, and that really can spiral out of control, create also some debt, and that really becomes an even bigger problem later down the road. But as far as the gap between your wage or income level to the current prices of, let's say, homes, that's actually something very difficult to control, and that's a little bit more out of your control. But you do have some leeway. If you're willing to take some chances, some sacrifices, you might be able to get out of the situation a lot faster. It's just really about if you're willing to do what it takes to make it happen. Anyways, I hope this opened your eyes, gave you some things to think about, to move forward, and maybe, hey, you might be able to change your life for the better a lot faster than what you thought before. Thanks for joining me. Remember to hit the subscribe button by clicking the face icon here, or join me on my newsletter list so you get notified as I release some other great freebies, PDFs, checklists, and other ways to make money online by clicking the link over here and sign up. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.